Hey everyone, this is Tim from CoffeeRoastingGuide.com. Today I'm going to talk about how to modify your West Bend Air Crazy popcorn popper into a coffee roaster. This popcorn popper, it's just one of those air poppers where down here you put in your popcorn kernels and plug it in, turn it on, and it shoots up hot air through this chimney, and the hot air basically cooks the kernels until they pop into popcorn. Well, it's going to work exactly the same way for coffee. The problem is for coffee, we want it to get a lot hotter than it does for the popcorn kernels. And the issue with this is there's a safety feature where there's a thermostat installed on the inside of this housing here that prevents it from getting too hot. But it's perfectly safe actually to disable this, and I've never had one of these things melt or anything when roasting coffee. But we want to basically just disable this thermostat so that the heater element will stay on continuously and we can get our coffee beans to the temperature we want and the roast level we want. Okay, so basically when you flip this thing over, what you'll see are 4 screws on the bottom. So what we're going to need is a Phillips head screwdriver, and then later on we're going to need a flathead screwdriver. So the first thing you want to do is just remove these 4 screws, and I've already pre-loosened these so that this will just go a little bit faster. Get these screws out. A magnetic screwdriver here, so just stick to it. There's number 2, number 3. Oh, and one thing I should mention, before you do this, you'll want to, if you're just got this brand new out of the box and haven't used it yet, you'll want to plug it into the wall, turn it on, fire it up, and just make sure it's working correctly. Flip the switch, the heater should come on, and the fan, of course, should come on, and you'll know it's working if it's blowing hot air out the top. Because what we're going to do, if something goes wrong later and this thing stops working for whatever reason, this will probably void your warranty. So just go ahead and make sure it works, and that way if there's any issues on it, you can send it back and get a new one before you do this mod. Okay, well, I already started the next step without explaining it here, but the next thing we want to do is separate this black base that has all the the electronics and inner workings of this from the red housing here. And mine's already kind of loosened since I've already did it this morning. But what you want to do is get your Phillips head screwdriver, and I'm just switching out from my, I've got one of those adaptable screwdrivers, putting in my flathead in there. Get your flathead screwdriver, and you'll just insert it between this black housing, or the black base and the red housing somewhere, and it's just really easy just to in there and pop it off. So you're just gonna pry this out like that. And you can see that it's kind of separated. Okay, now there's a bunch of cords and things in there, and we can't pull it out right away because, I don't know if you can see this on the video, but on yours you can see that where the button is, there's the button is on the inside of the housing, and that's preventing the whole base from coming out. So what we have to do is we're just going to pull this, or pry this little button part off, so that we can then pull the rest of the base out. So you can just take your flathead screwdriver and work underneath this a little bit. Just kind of gently work it out like that. Once you get it out a little ways, you might be able to pull it. Not quite yet. Just pry this side a little bit. There we go. Okay. So just prying around. So now this is loose, so that now we can, because before this part was inside, preventing the whole base from being able to come out. So now we can just kind of work this out a little bit, get some of these cords out of the way. There we go, something's catching over here. All right, there we go. Okay, now I pulled the house out, the housing, or the base out of the housing. So we've got a heater element in here. There's a fan inside here, and so, as a popcorn popper, what regulates the temperature so you don't burn your popcorn is this thing right here. This is basically works as a thermostat, and when this right here gets too hot, the heater element will automatically shut off. Okay, but for coffee, we don't want to do that because we don't want to burn our coffee, but we need these hotter temperatures so that we can get to the, so that we can get through first crack. So the way this is attached, you can see there's this kind of like white gooey adhesive stuff. And all you're going to do is insert your flathead screwdriver in there, and we're just going to kind of gently poke at this and pry, and just kind of pop it off. If you pry really hard, you're going to warp this thing. It's really thin metal, so you're just going to mess it up real bad. So just kind of gently come in here, and I'm just going to work my screwdriver around a little bit. You can kind of see it. It's almost like somebody just chewed up a piece of gum and stuck this to the outside. So let me come over here on this side too and kind of do the same thing. Just sticking this in there, and you can see it's already just kind of coming off. Just kind of gently prying here. Eventually this thing will pop off. And if you bend this a little bit, I mean, it's not going to affect the operation of this of your roaster. Just kind of be careful and kind of work at it. See if this will pop off yet. Not quite. Just keep working at it. Maybe see if I can poke in there a little bit more. It might even be able to use pliers. Just kind of grab hold of it and pull it off. There we go. It's coming. Back over on this side. Just kind of go side to side, work side to side, and eventually this thing will. There we go. Okay. Yeah, just pull from there. Okay, we're off. Okay, so here's your thermostat. Now, some people have talked about, taking this part out completely and resoldering the wires, and I mean that's probably a little bit more elegant of a solution to do that. But I don't know how to solder, and this is just probably the easiest way to do it is just to pop it off like this. And then when we put it back in the housing, just kind of move this down to the bottom here, because this part of it is kind of shielded from the heating element. So just moving the thermostat down here, kind of in this area, tucking it under here, doesn't doesn't cause the heater to cut off when this is running. So I'm just going to kind of tuck this down in here like that, where these cords are. And now all we're going to do is reassemble everything. So we're going to put the base back in here. You can see the 4 holes where our screws were kind of line up with these holes inside the housing here. You just kind of want to line those up. The last thing we'll do is push our button back in there, but just kind of work this down with that, and you still see my thermostat is right here. Just kind of letting it go down and put it on in there. Okay. Holes are about lined up, so now you can just push your button in. Let's see, how did that go? I think it goes like that. And you can almost just press it in now. So now it's in there. Button's in there working good. And then the last step is just to make sure the holes line up and reinsert your 4 screws. So you can see it's just a really simple process. I'm not the most terribly handy guy in the world, but this was something pretty easy to figure out and do, and hopefully this video will help you guys make the same modification. And I've heard of some people not having to do this. Some people, I guess, just because there's some variance in the way these things are made, that some of them just stay hot enough that they can roast through first crack and with no issue. But I kind of like doing this because, well, for one, the first time I ever roasted coffee, I didn't take it out, and I didn't know much about roast levels or anything, and my coffee basically came out tasting like sour milk or just something really bitter and not very appetizing. But I won't screw these in all the way just so we can go ahead and wrap up here. But basically that's all you do, and once you do that, this thing is ready to go. It's going to get a lot hotter than it does right out of the box. So just don't ever leave it unattended while it's running is the one safety point I'm going to make here. But yeah, so check out my other videos and check out the site. And you know, I'm going to put out a tutorial video where I show how to actually kind of a step-by-step guide to the actual roasting process with this once you've done this modification. So again, thanks guys. This is Tim from coffeeroastingguide.com. See you later.